Hello students, welcome back to our biology sessions. In the last video we have discussed up to chapter 6, that is the process of germination in seeds. We have discussed about the different types of seeds, that is monocot and dicot seeds. Now to continue with, in this chapter 7 in your textbook you have respiration in plants. Children, in this chapter, we will read about what are the different types of respiration that takes place in plants and how does it take place, and also there are few experimental setups or few experiments which will prove that what are the different requirements for the process of respiration. Okay, now let's start up with first one. What is respiration? As you all know, children, the definition of respiration, yes, it is what is respiration? It is the process of breakdown of glucose to release energy in the form of ATP. That energy which is released by the breakdown of glucose that gets stored in the cell in the form of ATP. That is called respiration. Yes. Now, this process of respiration in the plant or in animal, this process takes place in the cells, of the plants. So, living cells, the process of respiration takes place. Now, this process of respiration, it involves basically two major steps. Okay, so process of respiration involves two major steps. The first one is glycolysis. First step is glycolysis and the second step is Krebs cycle. So these are the two major steps which you will learn in this class. First one, glycolysis. Second one is Krebs cycle. Now, what is the meaning of glycolysis? Glycolysis is formed by two terms. One is glucose and the second term is breakdown, or the breakdown of glucose is called glycolysis. So, as the term suggests, what happens in this process is glucose breaks down into as you know, glucose is a 6-carbon compound. This 6-carbon compound breaks down into two 3-carbon compounds, which is called pyruvate. So, glucose breaks down into two 3-carbon compounds called pyruvate by the process of glycolysis, and in this process there is no use of oxygen. So it is a complete anaerobic process. And this process of glycolysis, it takes place in the cytoplasm of the cell. After this, pyruvate enters into the mitochondria of the cell. You know what is mitochondria? I have taught in lesson cell. Mitochondria, you know, it is the powerhouse of the cell because it releases the energy. So when this pyruvate, the 3-carbon compounds, enter the mitochondria, in the mitochondria several steps are carried out, and finally this pyruvate breaks down into carbon dioxide, water, and release some amount of energy. That process is called Krebs cycle by the name of the scientist Hans Krebs. Since Hans Krebs first observed this phenomenon, so he has named it as Krebs cycle. So what do we come to know? And this process, Krebs cycle, is occurring in the presence of oxygen. So in the process of respiration, if you see in your textbook, the equation for respiration, 1 glucose molecule in the presence of 6 oxygen molecules and enzymes, respiratory enzymes, breaks down to release 6 molecules of carbon dioxide, 6 molecules of water, and energy. This energy gets stored in the form of ATP. You can see here ATP is given. The energy is stored in the form of ATP, and in one molecule breakdown of glucose, you will find 38 molecules of ATP. So this is called the process of respiration, or it is aerobic respiration, since it occurs in the presence of oxygen. So this is the basic step in the process of respiration. First stage is glycolysis, second stage is Krebs cycle. Sometimes you get questions on this topic, that where does glycolysis take place? Your answer will be in the cytoplasm. And where does Krebs cycle occur? It occurs in the mitochondria. And in the process of glycolysis, children, 2 molecules of ATP are produced, and the remaining, as you know, in this aerobic respiration, 38 ATP molecules are formed, 36 are formed in the Krebs cycle and 2 in the glycolysis. Of course, there are some other processes which are involved in the process of respiration that you will read in your senior classes, class 12, that there is electron transport system, etc., etc. So those you will not read now. So you only have to read about 2 steps, that is glycolysis and Krebs cycle. Clear? Then we move on to the next topic, that is, what is the next topic? You can see here in the next page in your book, living organisms show 2 types of metabolic activities. One is anabolic and one is catabolic. Anabolic means all the processes which leads to addition, or this is the constructive processes in our body, like growth, like you can say photosynthesis, because carbon dioxide and water are combining to form glucose, that is anabolic. But catabolic, which is destructive or breakdown process. So you can say, what is the example for catabolic process? Respiration is a catabolic process, because here breakdown of glucose takes place. Now in your textbook, comparison of respiration and burning is given. You can read from there, it's very easy. Next we move on to 2 kinds of respiration. Yes, this is important, children. Now respiration, it is of 2 basic types. One is, first one, aerobic respiration. Now it's clear, I think. And the second one is anaerobic respiration. Aerobic and anaerobic. So from the name only you can understand, aerobic means respiration which occurs in the presence of oxygen, anaerobic respiration that occurs in the absence of oxygen. So these are the 2 processes of respiration. One is aerobic and anaerobic. The chemical equation is given in your book, children. You will practice it. And another important thing, aerobic respiration is also called oxybiotic, because it occurs in the presence of oxygen. And anaerobic respiration is called anoxybiotic, because it occurs in the absence of oxygen. Now, since we are reading about respiration in plants, so here we will see that in case of plants, due to anaerobic respiration, that is in absence of oxygen, what is the product form? Ethanol or ethyl alcohol, carbon dioxide, and you can see here 2 molecules of ATP. So it means there is incomplete breakdown of oxygen, leading to the formation of less amount of energy. Clear? Some examples are given where we find anaerobic respiration. Now here you see there is a comparative study of aerobic and anaerobic. First point, in the presence of oxygen, without oxygen, complete breakdown, incomplete breakdown. End products you can write energy 38, energy 2, occurs normally throughout life, occurs temporarily, because it is anaerobic only when there is shortage of oxygen. So anaerobic respiration cannot continue for a longer period of time, and ultimately the plant body will be destroyed if proper supply of oxygen is not provided. Now we come to experiments on respiration. So as we know that for the process of respiration, oxygen is required. So your first experiment is proof that oxygen is used for or used up in the process of respiration. You can see here one experimental setup is given. Here what is done is germinating seeds are taken in this container, and here dead seeds are taken. This is the control setup. Control setup means the condition in the setup in which all the conditions are present except the condition required for experimentation. So here we are taking dead seeds, and why these dead seeds, these are what do we do to prevent the bacterial decay? These are provided with some antiseptic so that bacterial decay can be prevented, and that bacterial decay can lead to respiration. So since we are studying the presence of oxygen or the use of oxygen, so here the dead seeds are soaked, or they are provided, or they are dipped in antiseptic to avoid bacterial decay. That is a very important question. Why the seeds are dipped in antiseptic? So your answer will be to avoid bacterial decay. Now here you see there is a very important compound, soda lime. Very, very important, children. This composition also comes. It's a mixture of sodium hydroxide and slaked lime, that is soda lime. And what is the function of this? It is, see here, this one, it absorbs any carbon dioxide released by the seeds. That is the function of soda lime. So see here in the experimental setup also we have taken soda lime, control setup also soda lime. So what happens, and this from these two flasks, what happened? There is a bent tube introduced into a water body, and when the experimentation continues, we find that there is a rise in the water level in this tube. But in the tube B, water rises for some time and then stops rising. Now we come to the explanation part. Why does it happen? The reason is, in case of this flask, in flask A, these germinating seeds, they undergo respiration. That means the air which is present here, the oxygen is used up by the seeds, carbon dioxide are produced. This carbon dioxide is absorbed by soda lime, leading to the creation of a vacuum here. To fill up the vacuum, the air from this tube enters into the flask, so the water rises. But in this case, initially the water rises because the amount of carbon dioxide which was present in the flask, that is absorbed by soda lime. So to fill that gap, this water rises because this space is created again vacuum. But after that, since no respiration takes place, no carbon dioxide is produced, no more vacuum is created. As a result, further there is no rising of water. Clear? Then move to next. See here there is a question, which of the two flasks, A or B, is a control? So what will be your answer? Here B is the control setup because the condition for experiment is not present. Okay, next. See here it is given the definition of control and experimental setup. Please learn by heart from here. Second experiment, to prove that carbon dioxide is produced during respiration. It's very simple. Again, the two flasks we take, one is the experimental, one is the control. Here boiled seeds, here soaked seeds, germinating seeds. We find that after some time, the air from here, when we introduce into lime water, then the lime water turns milky, which shows that respiration leads to production of carbon dioxide. Now the same experiment can be proved by an alternative method. Let's see what is that alternative method. You see here 4 conical flasks are taken, A, B, C and D. In the flask A, you see here from the atmosphere, air is coming and it is passed through potassium hydroxide solution. Potassium hydroxide solution has a capacity to absorb the carbon dioxide. So now from here, the air which is taken to flask B, it is free of carbon dioxide, so the lime water does not turn milky. Now from here, when we take the air up to this germinating seeds flask, that means now the air has no carbon dioxide. But from here, the tube which takes the gas to the last flask, we see that the lime water here turns milky. What does that mean? That means this carbon dioxide has come from this flask, and from this flask means it has come by germination of seeds. So this germination of seeds, this leads to respiration, and these germinating seeds respire, leading to the production of carbon dioxide, which is proved by flask D. Okay, next. Your next experiment is to prove that carbon dioxide is produced by green plants during respiration. What is that experiment? Here we take a potted plant, cover it up with a bell jar. Then we have taken two flasks A and B. In A, we introduce a bent tube into a flask containing this is lime water, and the tube will contain soda lime. What is the function of soda lime? It will absorb all the carbon dioxide. So this air which comes from here, it is free of carbon dioxide, so lime water does not turn milky. Now from here, the air comes to this region which is carbon dioxide free air. Now the tube which comes from this bell jar and reaches the flask B, the lime water turns milky, which proves that the air which has come from this bell jar, it contains carbon dioxide. So which proves that plants produce carbon dioxide, which is your experiment. Then experiment to show that heat is evolved during respiration. This is very simple, children. For this, two containers are taken. In one we take germinating seeds, and in the other one we take again dead seeds, so that it's a control setup. In both we introduce the thermometer, and we find that the thermometer which is placed in the germinating seeds, it shows rise in temperature, but the one which is kept here does not show much rise in temperature. What does this conclude? It concludes that the germinating seeds undergo germination that leads to the evolution of heat, which results in rise in temperature of the thermometer placed in container A. Now, the last experiment to demonstrate anaerobic respiration. Children, the previous 4 experiments which we have discussed, that is about aerobic respiration. This is the only experiment which proves anaerobic respiration. What is the experiment? You see here, we take a container containing mercury, okay, which is free of oxygen, and we take few germinating seeds in a test tube. Then that containing the mercury, we invert it in this beaker containing mercury. After 2 to 3 days of experimentation, we find that there is a gap created at this portion of the flask, and there is the accumulation of a gas here. Now, to test which type of gas is this, we introduce a stick of potassium hydroxide into this test tube, and we find that when the potassium hydroxide stick is introduced, gradually the mercury level rises up till it is attained this position again. And when we take out the potassium hydroxide, again this gap is created. This proves that the gas which is collected here, it is carbon dioxide, because potassium hydroxide absorbs carbon dioxide. Clear? So this is the experiment for anaerobic respiration. How do you get a question from this topic? You will be given this diagram. You will be asked what does this experiment represent? Then draw the diagram of the setup after 2 to 3 days. So for that you have to draw this diagram, and don't forget, children, to label this carbon dioxide. Very, very important. If you simply write gas, no marks for that. Clear? Then the next topic is respiration contrasted with photosynthesis. Means what is the difference between respiration and photosynthesis? It is given in the textbook. You can read from there. Then respiration in plants compared to respiration in animals. Actually, this comparison you will be more clear when we will discuss respiration in animals. That chapter is later on. I will teach you. That is chapter that respiration in animals. It is, let's see in the content which chapter it is. Respiration in animals is nutrition, this one, chapter number 14. So when we discuss there, then only you will come to know in detail how is the or what is the difference between respiration in plants and animals. But here the 3 points are given, you can go through them. Okay, so with this we come to an end of this chapter. The exercise part I have gone through, children. It's very easy. If you have understood the chapter, hope you have followed or you have understood the video, and I have tried to explain it in very simple language. Very easily I have tried to explain. Please go through the book, read, especially you practice all these chemical equations. This one, the general equation for respiration, then equation for aerobic and anaerobic respiration. Please practice them very properly. Balanced equation, okay, and the examples, the definitions which are given, learn by heart. Differences which are given in your book, those also you go through. And one experimental question, it normally comes. It's very easy also. You can explain that how I have explained. That's all. Thank you so much, children. Thank you for listening.